Hello guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. True God in Another World, Tensura x Tbate, by Tempest_King_20. Chapter 19. Back to Eleanor. Rimuru Pav. My mother's embrace tightened around me, her arms enveloping me in a bittersweet mixture of love and sorrow. As her hold grew stronger, I could feel the air being squeezed out of my lungs, and a subtle ache spread across my chest. "Mom, I really can't breathe," I gasped, my voice strained as I tried to push her away gently. But she clung to me, refusing to let go, her grip unyielding and desperate. "Come on, dear," my father intervened, his voice gentle yet firm, his hand resting on her shoulder. "He has to go now." Tears welled up in my mother's eyes, casting a reddish hue upon her face. "Just a little more," she pleaded with me, her voice trembling with a mixture of longing and fear. "You never know when he will come again," she implored, her words laden with the weight of uncertainty. We stood at the threshold of Helstia Palace, the grandeur of the surroundings serving as a stark reminder of the life I was leaving behind. The opulent marble columns and intricately carved wooden doors stood as silent witnesses to our farewell. It was a moment filled with conflicting emotions, a collision of duty and family ties. I longed to stay, to be with my loved ones for just a little longer, but the weight of responsibility tugged at my heart, reminding me of the tasks that awaited me in Eleanor. I had plans to liberate the enslaved, fortresses to dismantle, and warriors to train. Time was a precious commodity, and I couldn't afford to squander it. The twin Horns and the Helsta family had gathered at the front door, their presence symbolizing both support and parting. The twin Horns had chosen to set aside their own adventures momentarily, deciding to remain by our side until the moment of my departure. Jasmine, in particular, had insisted on training together, her determination to grow stronger evident in her every move. We honed our skills side by side, pushing each other to unlock the true potential of our elemental magic. My focus had gravitated towards the realm of ice, a natural affinity that flowed through my veins. With each passing day, I delved deeper into its mysteries, seeking to unlock its full potential. Jasmine, on the other hand, had been making remarkable progress in her pursuit of sound magic, her daggers becoming an extension of her newfound prowess. Together, we sparred and shared our knowledge, each session a testament to our growing bond. Not only have I trained with Jasmine, but I have trained with the rest of the twin Horns and my father, and I have also given them books on elemental magic. Amidst this journey, I had grown closer to Vincent and Tabitha, their unwavering support and genuine care making them feel like true family. They had chosen to address me by my surname, a sign of the respect and affection we held for one another. Just like Lily called my parents uncle and aunt, they asked me to do the same with them, and I agreed, realizing that they had truly become a part of my family. "You can always rely on the communication scroll if you want to see us, Mother," I assured my mother, a tinge of sadness in my voice. "And I'll make it a point to come over whenever I get the chance." A heavy sigh escaped her lips as she loosened her grip on me, stepping aside reluctantly. As I turned, my gaze locked with my father's piercing eyes. He pulled me into a tight embrace, his arms strong and protective around me. "I expect you to grow even more powerful next time, lad," he said, his voice filled with a blend of pride and anticipation. "For your old man will strive to become even stronger." A smile tugged at the corners of my lips, a playful retort escaping me. "Ha, don't you worry, Dad," I replied, a hint of mischief in my voice. "I'll continue to surpass you, even in the future." Our eyes met, exchanging a knowing look that spoke volumes about our unwavering confidence in our abilities. "We shall see, my son." He playfully ruffled my hair, a mischievous glint dancing in his eyes. Uncle Vincent and Aunt Tabitha stood nearby, their expressions marked by a subtle sadness. "Take good care of yourself, Uncle Vincent said, his voice laced with genuine concern. Aunt Tabitha nodded in agreement, her eyes shimmering with a touch of longing. "And have fun out there," she added, her voice laced with a hint of longing. "We'll miss you, little Mons," Adam began, but Durden swiftly slapped the back of his head. "Goodbye, Durden said, his voice filled with a blend of fondness and regret. The farewell continued, and I found myself caught in the embrace of Angela, her grip firm yet comforting. As I struggled to breathe, a mix of emotions washed over me. Sweat trickled down my forehead, As I felt Ciel's anger, "I will miss you, Angela whispered, her voice filled with a blend of affection and longing. Helen freed me from Angela's embrace. I offered her a grateful smile as she released me. "Well, as they said, we will miss you very much," she said, her voice gentle and warm. She knelt down, bringing herself to my eye level, and affectionately patted my head. Jasmine hugged me tightly. Her embrace spoke volumes, conveying the depth of her sadness. I could feel her heartbeat in the tightness of her grip. All she managed to say was, "Goodbye, Ree." Her voice quivered with unspoken emotions. "Goodbye, Jasmine," I replied softly, my voice filled with a mix of gratitude and longing. Lily approached me, her arms encircling me in a heartfelt embrace. I returned the hug, feeling the weight of her emotions and the depth of her longing. "Goodbye, Ree. I will miss you so much," she whispered, her voice carrying a blend of sadness and determination. I gently patted her back, my touch serving as a silent reassurance amidst the parting. "Goodbye, Lily," I whispered back, my voice tender and filled with a mix of emotions. "And don't forget to train diligently, all right?" She nodded, her eyes shining with a resolute determination. Amidst the farewells, my mother approached, cradling Ellie in her arms. "Come, my dear, I will walk you to the carriage," she said softly, her voice carrying a delicate blend of pride and concern. Together, we made our way to the waiting carriage, the impending departure casting a solemn weight upon us. Standing before the carriage steps, my mother offered me a bittersweet smile, her face etched with a myriad of emotions. Leaning over, she gently pressed a kiss against my cheek. "Be safe out there, my dear," she whispered, her voice filled with a mother's love. "And take good care of your brother as well." "I will," I assured her, my voice filled with determination. With one final wave, I climbed into the cart, settling myself for the journey ahead. My mother stood there, watching me as the carriage started to move, her love and concern etched on her face until she was no more than a distant figure in the fading horizon. "I expected you to introduce yourself, Aya," I remarked, settling back into the plush chair and fixing my gaze on the elf seated across from me. "I'll have the chance to meet them in due time." Aya, perched on the opposite side, simply shrugged and offered me a mischievous smile. "It's been a while, Rimuru." "I think you're right. So, did something happen while I was gone?" I leaned forward, eager to uncover what had transpired in Eleanor while I was away. Aya informed me that they had successfully decimated all the hideouts of the slave traders and rescued the enslaved victims. I knew their pursuit hadn't been without its trials, as the cunning traders had managed to evade capture by cleverly relocating their operations. However, Aya's resourcefulness and ingenuity had proven effective in their ultimate defeat. As she recounted her encounters, there was an unsettling glint in her eyes, a sadistic satisfaction that danced just beneath the surface. If someone had whispered that she was a demon, I might have been tempted to believe them. Our journey to the forest of Elshire proceeded uneventfully, undeterred by bandits or menacing creatures. Aya didn't miss an opportunity to play pranks and harass me, but her efforts always fell flat. We reached our destination, passing through the teleportation gate into Zestir. The sight that greeted us was a desolate one, with only 2 guards stationed at the gate. As we arrived at the grandeur of the royal palace, my eyes were drawn to a solitary figure standing in wait. The carriage came to a halt, and I alighted. "Welcome back, Ree," a voice filled with tenderness and care rang out. I turned my gaze towards Aaliyah, who stood before us. As a gentle breeze swept through the courtyard, Aaliyah's shoulder-length blonde hair swayed in sync, revealing a subtle mint hue that added a touch of uniqueness to her already remarkable locks. Her tresses framed her face in a way that accentuated her striking features. Aaliyah's eyes, a bright shade of teal, sparkled with genuine delight as she extended her warm greeting. They mirrored the vibrant hues of the sea on a clear day, captivating anyone fortunate enough to meet her gaze. Within those depths, an inherent warmth emanated, a reflection of her kind and caring nature that instantly put others at ease in her presence. Although we didn't have much opportunity to interact, since she was the one responsible for raiding the hideouts of the slave traders due to her sensual charm, we got too close by then, and I knew that despite the hardships she had faced, including the tragic loss of her entire family, her heart remained kind and caring. Beneath her alluring exterior, she exuded an aura of a protective older sister, someone who would go to great lengths to ensure the safety and well-being of those dear to her. The pain and sorrow in her eyes reflected the weight she carried, but she wore it with grace, and her actions spoke louder than words. "I'm back, sis," I said with a warm smile, my voice filled with genuine affection, as Aaliyah approached me. As we released each other, I sensed Aya's gaze lingering on my back. "I don't recall you ever welcoming me like that," Aya remarked, her brow furrowing slightly as she defensively crossed her arms. "Well, unlike someone who constantly harasses me, Aaliyah has always taken good care of me, even though our encounters have been infrequent compared to you," I calmly responded, refusing to meet Aya's challenging gaze. Aaliyah chuckled softly, her laughter diffusing the tension in the air. Curiosity piqued, I turned to Aaliyah and inquired, "Where are the others?" As we started walking towards the Grand Palace, Aaliyah's laughter faded, her gaze becoming serious. "Arthur and Princess Tessia are exploring the city, while the rest are fulfilling their duties," Aaliyah replied. Suddenly, Aaliyah's gaze shifted towards me, her confusion growing more pronounced. Sensing her bewilderment, Aya interjected, her voice filled with worry, "Is there something amiss with Rimuru, Aaliyah?" Aaliyah shook her head, trying to make sense of the situation. "No, it's just that I can't sense any mana emanating from him," she explained, her confusion deepening. "Didn't you notice that, Aya?" Aaliyah asked, her gaze fixed on Aya, who averted her eyes. Aaliyah sighed, placing her hand on her forehead in frustration. "How did you not even notice that?" she asked Aya, impatience creeping into her voice. Aya's defensive stance intensified as Aaliyah's words struck her, crossing her arms as if daring Aaliyah to say more. "I don't always have to rely on my senses, you know," she replied, annoyance lacing her voice. Interrupting their exchange, I conjured a flickering torch in my hand, causing both Aaliyah and Aya to gasp in astonishment. Their eyes widened, disbelief etched across their faces. "How?" Aaliyah murmured, her features contorted with disbelief. "I've developed a new technique that allows me to conceal my mana even while utilizing it," I explained calmly, a small smile gracing my lips as I regarded both of them. Aya's eyes sparkled with curiosity, and she eagerly spoke up, her voice filled with anticipation. "Can you teach me this technique?" Aaliyah nodded in agreement, her eyes reflecting her eagerness to learn as well. Teaching them this technique had been part of my plan, initially intended for Jasmine. However, given her current circumstances, it would prove challenging for her. Aaliyah and Aya, being white core mages, would grasp the technique more easily. But before delving into it, they needed to master mana rotation, the crucial first step towards learning the advanced skill of Mirage Walk. "Certainly, but not today," I replied, acknowledging their enthusiasm. "Oh, by the way, King Alduin has requested your presence once you've had a chance to rest. He, Queen Muriel, and Elder Virian await you in the king's office," Aaliyah informed us, her voice brimming with respect. Alduin had gradually come to trust me, seeking my counsel and that of Gramps. Our discussions often revolved around exposing the Slavers' hideouts or their clandestine collaborations with humans. And sometimes we would have an occasional evening of drinking, sharing laughter while discussing trivial matters. "No need to delay, let's head there now," I suggested, altering our course to make our way to Alduin's office. As we walked, we passed diligent servants who bowed respectfully, acknowledging our presence before returning to their tasks. Thankfully, the people within the castle had come to respect both my brother and me, and they no longer posed any trouble. Initially, they had harbored animosity, but in the end, harmony prevailed. As we approached the door, Aaliyah stepped forward and rapped her knuckles against the weathered wood. A moment of anticipation hung in the air, punctuated only by the distant echo of faint footsteps growing nearer. With a protesting creak, the door swung open, revealing Muriel. Her face lit up with a radiant smile that seemed to warm the room as she graciously welcomed us into her office. "Hello, Rimuru. It's truly wonderful to have you back." Muriel's voice resonated with genuine warmth as she extended her hand in a gesture of hospitality. "Please, come inside and make yourself comfortable." "Ah, Rimuru, you've finally graced us with your presence," Gramps chimed in, his eyes crinkling at the corners. Alduin, engrossed in his scrolls, gracefully set them aside, acknowledging our arrival. The two of them were seated on plush sofas, their postures relaxed yet dignified. "We've been eagerly anticipating your return," Gramps continued, his voice carrying a sense of anticipation. "Come, take a seat." With a sweeping gesture, he directed my attention to a vacant spot on the couch, its cushions invitingly plump. Aaliyah and Aya positioned themselves silently behind Alduin and Muriel, standing tall and attentive. I lowered myself onto the seat next to Gramps, sinking into the gentle support of the cushions. "How was your visit?" Muriel inquired, her eyes sparkling with genuine interest. "It was good. I was able to spend some quality time with my family and catch up on everything that's been going on in their life," I replied, a soft smile gracing my lips. Alduin nodded in agreement. "That's splendid to hear," he affirmed, his voice resonating with sincerity. "And now that you've returned, we must turn our attention to the future of our country. While we have made significant progress, there is still much work to be done." Muriel's nod conveyed understanding and appreciation. "Your tireless efforts have garnered immense gratitude," she remarked, her tone conveying a sense of heartfelt gratitude. "We would like to extend our sincere thanks." "I merely did what I believed to be right," I replied, my smile reflecting a blend of humility and determination. No one should ever endure the shackles of slavery. As the conversation continued, I added, "By the way, you should anticipate a call from the human and dwarf kings." Gramps, his gaze fixed intently upon me, interrupted, a spark of curiosity evident in his eyes. "What leads you to believe that the human and dwarf kings will reach out to us?" "Well, it's likely that they want to discuss your efforts in rescuing slaves," I explained. However, their expressions betrayed a hint of confusion. For them, slaves are merely seen as property, so your actions may have disrupted their ownership. Additionally, the distribution of your power in their territories may have raised concerns, prompting them to seek an explanation. "How dare they degrade our people to the status of property?" Alduin exclaimed, his anger palpable as he gritted his teeth and clenched his fists in frustration. The rest of the group mirrored his sentiments, their faces contorted with indignation. Only Gramps remained composed, absorbing the information with a measured and contemplative demeanor. "While their perspective is despicable, we must approach this situation diplomatically to avoid unnecessary conflicts," I suggested, attempting to pacify Alduin's anger. "Rimuru is right. If we engage in a struggle against them, we will be the ones to suffer," Gramps concurred, his voice steady and calm. Alduin seemed to relax slightly upon hearing our rational approach. "I understand the necessity for diplomacy, but it's still incredibly infuriating," Alduin sighed, his frustration lingering. "I know I replied, projecting understanding in my tone. After a brief pause, I continued, "I believe the most prudent course of action would be to foster a bridge of understanding between humans and elves. The pervasive issue of racism has caused numerous conflicts between our races, and it is time to put an end to it. Perhaps we can initiate diplomatic talks or even engage in cultural exchanges to facilitate mutual understanding." "But you mentioned that they perceive our people as property," Muriel interjected skeptically. "Not just our people, but slaves as well," I said. Alduin tried to argue, but I anticipated his point and preemptively addressed it. "Let us not forget that among the slaves you rescued, there were humans and dwarves. So they not only are your people, they even see their people as property." I allowed a moment of silence to permeate the air, allowing my words to resonate before continuing. "Nevertheless, we cannot allow this obstacle to deter us from seeking a solution. It will undoubtedly be challenging, but we can start small and work towards building trust and understanding between our races. Who knows, perhaps one day they will come to recognize us as equals." Gramps nodded in agreement, acknowledging the difficulty of the task at hand. "It is undoubtedly a daunting endeavor, but it is one worth pursuing." Reluctantly, Alduin and the rest of the group acquiesced, realizing that this represented the most viable course of action. Though daunting, we now possessed a plan to forge a better future for all our races. The king and queen exchanged a meaningful glance, their expressions reflecting a shared understanding. "We will heed your words, Rimuru," the queen affirmed. "Your insights are valued, and we appreciate your guidance. Should you require any assistance, do not hesitate to ask. We are at your disposal," added the king. Before I could decline their offer, an idea suddenly sprang to mind. Pausing briefly to organize my thoughts, I responded, "Actually, there is something you can do."